Same game, same base, different wheel. Is something like this worth the money over something like the stock wheel you get with something like a T598? Is it actually any better? Is the direct drive feel, is that force feedback better through something like this Hypercar wheel here, for example? I've also got a SF1000. I'm going to do a similar video later on, seeing how well it compares to something like this, and indeed the SF1000 versus the Hypercar wheel, just to see which is the best wheel out of the two if you can only have one. But going back to that force feedback and this stock wheel, I mean, it's not a bad wheel, despite its shortcomings of the plasticky feel like I've pointed out before, and the moulding isn't the best. You can kind of feel those edges. It's actually a pretty decent wheel. All the buttons seem like they're in the right place when you play, and it seems to do an okay job of giving the force feedback that you want. It's actually pretty nice to use. I like it. So we're going to compare it directly today with this Hypercar wheel here. Very specialist wheel, expensive, £350, £370 with shipping for this wheel on its own, not including the base. So is it worth it? I'm not going to talk about the button layout and the feel of the wheel and things like that. This is literally about the force feedback comparison. Do the higher grade materials in this wheel, the fact that it's kind of designed for this as well, as is this to a degree, because they both use the new style quick release standard, but is it worth it? Is it a different, or does the force feedback feel exactly the same? But that's what I'm going to try and find out today. I'm going to play Gran Turismo. I'm going to have a go of maybe WRC as well, switch the wheels around and see what we think. So I think I'll actually start with this one, and then we'll switch over to the more expensive one, because I've used this one overall more. I've had this one a while now and I've got used to it, but I think it's more logical to start off with the stock wheel. So let's swap them over. Do love this quick release mechanism. It is so much better than the old system. It is nuts. Right, so let's jump into a race. I'm going to tell you how much definition I feel like I'm getting from this stock wheel, the clarity of the force feedback, and the overall feeling I get from it. Does it feel realistic, or is it kind of lacking something, or is it indeed the same? Because if you're after force feedback, then well, is it worth the extra for that Hypercar wheel, for example? Let's find out. Right, let's jump into a race and see what we think. Now, I am thinking about the force feedback more than anything else, not thinking about the feel of the wheel, my position in the race, anything like that. I'm kind of thinking about the force feedback. So let's concentrate on that. Let's go over a few rumble strips. Maybe get into a crash or two, see how that feels. Nice jolt. Felt good. Yeah, the rumble strips conveyed that feeling pretty well. When the force feedback kicked in then when going around the corner, I could feel it. Let's have another little shunt. Yeah, not bad. I want to try and lose grip now when going around the corner, just to feel what it feels like to go into a slide. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, the thing is, I'm trying to be completely neutral on this now, because I have got used to that Hypercar wheel over the last week or so. It's I haven't actually been using this wheel since I've had that, so I'm coming back to this one with a kind of fresh set of feelings, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it felt okay going around. I could catch that slide, I could feel when it was going. And again. Right, enough of that. Let's switch over to the Hypercar wheel now. Right, let's try the other one. I'm going to restart the race and see what we think. Solution. Shutting again. over those rumble strips. Let's catch a slide. Let's just try and lose that grip again around this corner. Yeah, it just feels more in tune with the game. It's hard to explain, but it does feel better. It feels more real. The wheel isn't kind of giving a very slight, I wouldn't say rattly, more like a vibration of the materials as well. Like with the stock wheel, you could feel like the actual materials of the wheel were contributing somewhat to how that force feedback was delivered. I'm not getting that with this. It feels like all force feedback and no outside forces or internal forces from the wheel's materials interfering with the force feedback. This feels like it's delivering the force feedback exactly how it was intended. Right, next up, WRC generations. I'm going to start with the Hypercar wheel first and then switch over to the stock wheel that comes with the T598.
2, 1, go.
Again, not worried about times or fantastic performance, more feeling about what I'm feeling for the force feedback. Going to deliberately get into some slides,
And right 5.
go over some rumbles.
5, short, 30.
Of course, some force feedback to come in. See that jolt there felt really nice through this.
Flat left, 30.
The delivery of the force feedback through this wheel is pretty stunning, to be honest.
Left, caution, 30.
That was good.
Into left 5. Into left right, 30.
The way to describe it, I suppose, would be really dense. It feels like deep
Brake into right 4, short, 30.
force feedback, where what I mean by deep is and dense, it doesn't feel like the materials of the wheel are interfering with how the force feedback is delivered,
200.
which you don't want. You don't want to feel like the wheel materials are vibrating as well, causing
Flat left, brake,
additional force feedback or making a noise. And I have noticed that a little tiny bit from that stock wheel. This feels like I'm getting force feedback delivered to the wheel and nothing else, which is exactly what you want. This feels really good. These bumps and jumps here, I'm just getting force feedback, feeling through the wheel without any sort of additional noise.
Into right 2 and right.
Let's go over some rough terrain, feel some jolts.
Into left 3 and right.
Deliberately cut a few corners.
Into left 3, tightens, narrows.
Yeah, it feels really good. It feels tight and taut and dense. It's hard to explain, but it's like a deep force feedback, if that makes any sense.
100.
I can feel every bit of the force feedback, but it doesn't feel like I was getting anything else extra that wasn't meant to be there. Because with the stock wheel, what I noticed on Gran Turismo 7, it'd be interesting to see if it comes out in this game, was because the materials are cheaper and it's a lighter wheel, it felt like kind of like there's a little bit of vibration coming through from the wheel itself, which you don't actually want. Now on to the stock wheel that comes with the T598. Again, not interested in time or performance, more about the feeling I'm getting from the force feedback through the wheel, not the actual button layout, anything like that. This is all about just the force feedback feeling and how it compares to that Hypercar wheel.
And left 5 short into right 4.
Straight away, it's immediately obvious that there's a little bit of what I might class as wheel interference regarding the force feedback.
5, medium, 30.
There's an extra sort of sound I'm hearing from the wheel. It's only very slight.
30.
Doubt if the camera's picking it up or the microphone's picking it up,
80.
but it is there.
30.
I mean, I have got the sound down quite low, so I don't want to overwhelm my voice. And maybe at normal volume you may not notice it, but it's definitely there. And that basically means that there's a little bit of interference coming from this wheel regarding force feedback. There, that little shunt there. It's not as intense either. I don't think the force feedback feels quite as intense through this wheel. The clarity is not quite the same. It's obviously to do with the materials it's made from and things like that. Yeah, I think I'm actually lacking a bit of immersion with this wheel now. I did like this before. I was happy with it. I actually preferred it to
Right 3.
even my Ferrari 599XX Evo wheel.
Short.
Just because maybe
Tightens, narrows.
the button layout is there and it's easy to use. This bit feels quite good though, to be fair.
And right 5.
Picking up all the bumps in the road really well, and they feel good, but not as dense as
Right 3.
that Hypercar wheel.
Into left 3. Into right
Yeah, this
4,
section on the Hypercar wheel felt
narrows.
different.
Into right 2 and right tightens.
It's more a deeper force feedback. It's denser. Like if you could, tap something that was a little bit hollow, and then bash something that was more solid. That feeling you get from that is like the difference between this and that Hypercar wheel. It just feels more like the way it's meant to be
And right 4. Into
on the
right
Hypercar
3,
wheel.
tightens.
This is still a great experience. It's really, really good. I'm not knocking it at all. So I'm going to swap back over again and just have another go at that, because I don't want to get a feeling I'm not like imagining anything. Let's just do a quick restart. Really, really interesting.
3, 2,
Just want to get to that foresty bit again, because
go.
it did feel different.
And left 5 short into right 4.
Yeah, it's
Right 5.
do get that way round.
Short 30.
It's actually very wow. It's actually really apparent, the difference. It really is.
5 medium.
It's
30.
just so much more a deeper force feedback. It doesn't feel slightly hollow like it does through that stock
Caution,
wheel.
Left 4 short 80.
Interesting.
Flat left. Caution 30. Right 4.
And because of that, it feels like
Flat right 30.
I'm concentrating more on the race, more on what I'm feeling through the wheel.
5 brake into
And for that reason,
short,
I immediately feel
caution, chicane,
more immersed.
keep middle, don't
Like that crash then felt solid and deep. I didn't get that slight vibration sound like you can get through the stock wheel, that feeling of that slight like sort of hollow like vibration where it's a cheaper wheel and a lot of it is plastic. That wheel convey the force feedback in a different way. That felt amazing, that bit then. Yeah, for sake of repeating myself, it just feels like it's got more depth. Depth is a good word, which I should have used earlier.
Narrows into left 3.
To the force feedback.
Into right 4. Into left 3. Narrows.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better.
3 cut.
Right, so to conclude, just how good was this stock wheel that comes with the T598 when compared to something like this Hypercar wheel here? Now, I am talking about the force feedback only on this and the way it's delivered. I'm not talking about the quality of the wheel itself overall, the button layout and things like that, because obviously there are massive advantages to a wheel like this regarding that, but there are actually advantages to this in its own way. I'll be doing a more overall comparison video on these in the future, and also the SF1000 as well. But going back to the force feedback, I would say there are definitely advantages that the Hypercar wheel has over the T598 stock wheel, but they're not huge. They're not absolutely night and day. If you're thinking about like buying this just because maybe the force feedback is tons better, or you've been told it's tons better, it isn't. The basic fact of the matter is the amount of force feedback you're getting through the wheels is pretty much the same. I couldn't actually feel any more force feedback coming through this wheel as I could this one. The difference was how it was delivered, and that was very, very different indeed. Like, not quite night and day, but not far away. With this, the force feedback was delivered with absolute clarity and a kind of depth of feeling that you just didn't get from this wheel. It was like a deep force feedback. It's like having a bass drum maybe. You get like a really nice deep bass drum that's like boom, boom, really, really solid, and you get a more hollow sort of bass drum. It's still delivering the same amount of bass drum, but in a lighter kind of way, if you know what I mean. Still the same amount, still the same loudness in that analogy, but delivered in a better depth kind of way with this Hypercar wheel. That's the best way I can think to describe it right now. I mean, it was still there, you could still feel the same amount of force feedback like I said, but it felt like the cheaper materials of this wheel were being shown up just now and again, because some force feedback you could feel, you could actually hear a slight extra sound sometimes. Maybe some of the materials in this were vibrating ever so slightly. You just did not get that with this wheel. It just felt like solid deep, and it was like a really, really nice experience. And it did change how I felt playing the game. I got actually more immersed playing the game with this Hypercar wheel than I did with this one. But that's not to say it's a bad wheel, because it's the stock wheel that comes with your T598. Something like this is a lot of money extra. You do get the extra bonuses, of course, like the rotary encoders, the superb build quality, those magnetic shifters, extra buttons and all sorts, but this has got all the buttons too. So if you want it just to do a job and get the same amount of force feedback you get through something like this, then you'll be happy with this wheel and you don't need to spend the extra money getting something like this. If you're a bit of a perfectionist and you've got the money to spare and you like that extra quality and you're going to appreciate the extra depth of force feedback, then the Hypercar wheel is definitely overall a cut above the stock wheel when it comes to the overall feeling of the force feedback. Well, there's the video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.